The following video cites an article by the Bakersfield Californian published on October 30th of 2017, an article by hauntedrooms.com, an article by backpackverse.com, as well as several articles from Wikipedia.com. All sources cited will be listed in the video's description. Bakersfield is the largest city in Kern County, California. As of a census taken in 2017, it is home to over 300,000 people. With that in mind, it is no wonder that there are many reportedly haunted buildings and areas in the town. Please note that since this video is an amalgamation of several sources, these locations are in no particular order regarding their degree of haunting or notoriety. So without further ado, here are the top 5 haunted locations in Bakersfield, California. Sinaloa was a traditional Mexican restaurant founded in 1948 and located in the eastern part of downtown Bakersfield, and which just recently went out of business as of January 2019. Before it even became Sinaloa Restaurant, the building has had a colorful past. Ellen M. Baker Trey, the widow of the town's founder Thomas Baker, donated 2 acres of land to the city of Bakersfield's government. In 1909, the building was erected originally as a children's shelter. Small handprints from the children who stayed there can still be seen imprinted in the concrete steps of the building's entrance. After the children's shelter closed down, the building took form as a few other businesses, including a boxing gym, an Italian restaurant, and even a mortuary. According to Bakersfield.com, 2 ghost stories have emerged from the property. One is of a man who was supposedly killed during a match while the building was still a boxing gym. His spirit is said to still walk the halls. Patrons have stated that they can hear the bell of a fight ring out in the distance, followed by a man shouting in pain. It's also believed that many of the deceased which were brought to the building while it was a mortuary left their spirits behind to inhabit the premises. Customers have reported the sensation of cold winds from out of nowhere, as well as the sounds of a person wailing. I have personally had impromptu conversations with some of the staff of the restaurant, who've stated that the sounds of footsteps can be heard on the 2nd floor of the building when no one else is up there. The 2nd floor was reserved for banquets and was left completely empty otherwise. Another account one of the waitresses told me was that of a little orphan girl, most likely from when the building was a children's shelter. One night, a customer went to use the women's restroom. A few minutes later, she ran screaming out of the room, saying that she witnessed a little girl appear right in front of her in the stall that she was using. Funny, I know, but certainly not something I'd want to experience firsthand. Number 4.
Central Park?
Now, this isn't the Central Park, but it is a Central Park. Central Park in Bakersfield is said to be home to a full-bodied apparition of a woman wearing a white flowing gown. She is reported to be more likely to be seen just before dawn, and is usually walking alongside the canal which runs through the park. She is believed to be a murder victim whose body was found in an old foundry across from the park. Her remains were supposedly discovered when the foundry's floors were torn out. Number 3. The Bakersfield Californian building is still in use today as an office for the city's local newspaper. Located downtown, it was built back in 1866 and placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1983. According to an article by backpackverse.com, the newspaper's former editor and owner is said to still inhabit the building, although he's been long dead for decades. His spirit has reportedly been witnessed opening and closing his office curtains at night and looking out over the main lobby of the building. Another supposed facet of activity is in the basement, where wraith-like figures have been reportedly seen, but disappear before anyone can get a decipherable look at them. Disembodied footsteps are heard throughout the hallways at night, as well as eerie moans which echo throughout the building. There is also rumor of a deceased security guard and his German Shepherd, which still patrol the building on the regular. One of the more outlandish claims is that there is a demonic entity on the premises, which dons a black suit and has a gaunt and deathly white countenance, which stuns witnesses as they look into its eyes. Number 2. This building, which stands in central downtown, was constructed in 1927 and was at the time one of the tallest buildings in the valley. It is said that during the building's construction, 2 workers were tragically killed in accidents. Some of the current occupants claim they can hear a man scream, followed by the sound of a crash. One space of the building has been home to numerous restaurants and businesses. There are supposedly the remnants of a speakeasy underneath this space, which during the Prohibition era saw many patrons come in and out, including the police chief and mayor of Bakersfield at the time. The building is said to have paranormal activity, including a woman's voice that frequently calls out in the distance, unexplained lights that switch off, an apparition of an elderly man who wanders the building's storage areas, and scaffolding in the basement, which unexplainably gets rearranged. Number 1. Originally constructed in 1928 as a luxury hotel and restaurant, this building was put out of commission from 2002 to 2010 after it was purchased by a San Diego-based company and went through development hell for nearly a decade. However, it has since been purchased by a different company, which finished renovations and reopened back in 2010. It has been a downtown hotspot ever since. However, employees and guests are not the only ones attributing to the hotel's activity. During the renovations prior to its reopening, on-site construction workers complained about their tools disappearing. There were also accounts of said workers being pushed by disembodied hands, as well as seeing apparitions. According to Bakersfield.com, many believe that the Padres' former owner, Milton Spartacus Miller, may be responsible for much of this activity. Other spirits who are said to be blamed for this activity are victims of a fire that occurred in the 1950s, as well as suicide victims who may have jumped off the roof of the building to their deaths. The hotel's main area of activity is on the 7th floor. Guests frequently report that they are pushed by some unseen entity while up there. Furthermore, an apparition of a little girl, who appears to be dressed in 1920s era clothing, is said to be seen roaming the halls, and has reportedly left a handprint on the hotel's lobby cafe counter on the 1st floor. This handprint remains today after multiple attempts by renovators to remove or conceal it. And that's it for the 5 most haunted places in Bakersfield. Do you have a ghost story from your hometown that you would like me to share? If so, please let me know in the comments section. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. If you do subscribe, please click the bell icon to be alerted of any new videos as they are released. Thank you and have a good night.